Oh, hey, Beard, it's your boy Big Beard B, and we back for another edition of Big Beard Business. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am B, and here we help you improve your confidence by way of compliments using the world of fragrance. In today's video, we're discussing Gravitas Pour Homme from Naughton and Wilson, but to some of you out there, you may just know this as Mr. Smelly's cologne. Mr. Smelly is a fragrance reviewer here on the YouTube platform and figured it is his time to bring his creation to the world, and well, I have it in my hand. Now, the YouTuber fragrance trend has been growing in popularity and has had mixed reviews from Fragcom as well as the fragrance industry, but that's another video and another topic for another day. Now, I was sent this fragrance back in September by Mr. Smelly, and Dan hit me up like, yo, what's your name, my guy? And I'm like, B, Buck from Big Beard Business. He like, what's up, my guy? Listen, I want to send you a fragrance, and you have no expectations to review this scent. I want you to have it. And I was like, all right, cool, my guy. So I have had this thing in my collection since September, and I've experienced it enough to come to you finally and bring you my official thoughts and opinions. Now, I know I'm late to the game, but better late than never. And as always, we kick off this review with the presentation, well, sorta. Listen, if you follow me on Snapchat at LordKingBuck, then you already know that recently I did a purge of all of the unfucked boxes within my collection because they were just taking up too much space. So I don't have the actual bottle for this thing, but we all know how I feel about those, so fuck the box. Now, the bottle for Gravitas Pour Homme is pretty simplistic, or dare I say classic, okay? And when I look at this bottle, it's a clear bottle. You can see the juice, golden juice within this fragrance, and you also have these golden accents within the bottle here, showing the nameplate and as well as the cap. Now, with my limited interactions with Dan, aka Mr. Smelly, this is what I would expect from him, something traditional, classic, and simplistic. Now, enough about that, let's get down to this. So your official notes for Gravitas Pour Homme include bergamot, you have mandarin, lavender, coriander, cardamom, pepper, and then you also have patchouli, oak moss, and some vanilla within this scent. Now, as always, I gotta keep it 100. Before receiving this fragrance in the mail, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect. You see, I figured this fragrance would be this classic traditional barbershop fragrance, which it is to an extent, but I kind of gathered that from his top 10 fragrances for life, as they were all these manly men fragrances, very limited sweetness, and they had that classic and traditional feel. And I get that with this fragrance for sure, but it also has this modern edge to it, and we'll talk about that a bit later. Now, Gravitas Pour Homme is classified as a fougere fragrance, a fragrance family that is traditionally riddled with men's fragrances. It had that more masculine appeal, and this fragrance, in my opinion, did not disappoint, as this one is definitely a manly man's scent. To my nose, on first spray, this one starts off with this retro feel. There's this bitter, tart, but clean citrusy vibe that you get with this fragrance, which is likely brought in on account of that lavender and that bergamot within this fragrance. Now, when it comes down to me and what I traditionally enjoy within fragrances, this one isn't as sweet as something that I would traditionally brag upon, like your 1 Millions, you know where I'm going with this, your Mula Mulas of the world. This one doesn't have that sweetness to it. This one, for me, is this traditional masculine barbershop feel with this fragrance, which could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. Let me explain. As I've mentioned, this fragrance doesn't have the traditional sweetness that I'm used to, as you guys say, amping up within this channel, but this fragrance also doesn't have, in my opinion, that traditional dry aspect that I would expect within a barbershop fragrance. So within this fragrance, there is some sweetness within it. It's not uber sweet, so don't take it that way at all. But if you're into fragrances that again have that traditional barbershop classic fougere feel, you may be disappointed, but I think that the difference here within this fragrance, that it does have the subtle sweetness to it, what I appreciate, and I think that kind of opens the gate for a mass appealing fragrance, as some of the younger crowds out there may not like the older, more traditional format. So I think that bringing that additional sweetness into this one kind of opens it up for everyone, but there may be just a few of you out there disappointed, and I think that that was a risk worth taking. Now, once this fragrance, Gravitas Pour Homme, has finally fully developed and opened up, this fragrance still has that signature freshness that I mentioned in the top here, but it also has this more warm, earthy, woody type of base in this scent that kind of brings it together extremely well. I think another plus for me when it comes down to Gravitas Pour Homme, it doesn't smell super synthetic at all. Actually, it has more of a natural smell to it, and I also like the balance within this fragrance, as it doesn't really go one way or the other too much. It's not too new, it's not too old, it's not too dry, and it's not too sweet. It's kind of like the baby bear's porridge, as everything is just right. In terms of performance, it's not bad at all, and actually on average, I get between 8 to 10 hours of longevity on this, with a decent amount of projection within the first 2 hours before it begins to settle down a bit. But all in all, this is a really nice scent. As I've mentioned, this one has that classic, modern, traditional barbershop feel to it all in one. And I think that it's going to work for a lot of people. But at the same time, for someone like myself, I don't feel that this is a fragrance that I would wear on a frequent basis. This one is not a signature scent for me and my personality type or what I do on a daily basis. Although I am a business professional, I rarely find the need to dress up a lot these days. So therefore, I'm traditionally in streetwear. Like, that's what I do. I'm a streetwear often, and this fragrance doesn't really fit that profile of what I'm wearing. Now, if you're the type of guy that dresses up, if you're in real estate, etc., you're a CEO and you dress up, all in all, this fragrance could be a daily wear for you, but it's not one for me. Now, what I'll say about this scent, that I've mentioned this in the past within another video, the video doesn't matter, is that this fragrance on first spray reminded me of my grandfather. Not that this fragrance smells old, but it's something that he would have worn. He dressed up on a daily basis. Although he wasn't a business professional, that's just how he dressed up. And this is something that kind of was reminiscent to him. So when I smell this fragrance, it gives me this nostalgic feel, as I feel like this is something that I could have smelled on him on a daily basis. And I think that adds to that amount of me enjoying this scent. Classy, classy scent here. Job well done. This is a fragrance that you could wear to a black tie event and be good to go. Again, if you have a formal event, rock this thing and feel good about it. Or if you just dress up and this is your type of daily vibe, then hey, do it. Go for it. You can smell like $1,000,000 for not much at all. This thing comes in at 120 smackaroos. I have it listed and linked down below if you care to check this fragrance out. Again, I enjoy the scent. It's not one that I would wear on a daily basis, but I do understand and know some situations where I could pull this thing out and rock it. Now, I actually rocked this one in my house a few times, but most recently we were doing the Scent Explore event, and that night I threw this thing on. So listen, man, if you're looking for a solid fragrance, it's really going to be different than a lot of the fragrances that you get out there today. When it comes down to those fougere fragrances, there's a subtle hint of sweetness here. So again, I think on the wide scale, it was a great call to add that sweetness in here, as it's going to, again, add that more modern approach to a classic feel. This is still a manly man scent, so if you understand that going into it, I think you'll be good to go. So that's my take on this fragrance here. As always, I'm your boy, Big Beard Beat. Hit the like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend that we are back again. And you already know what I need you to do. Be a man, be a Gravitas Pour Homme man, and hit the goddamn bell.